Hey, so this video is going to be slightly different from the ones that I usually make. This is going to be a video essay on the pilot episode of my favorite series of all time, Game of Thrones. This video was actually recorded and edited over a year and a half ago and uploaded to this YouTube channel, but then I unlisted it and now I'm wanting to re-release it to see if this is something that you guys might enjoy. It's not quite as good as my new videos. There's definitely a bunch of things editing-wise and acting-wise that are not the best, but I didn't want to spend the time to fully remake it. If this is something that you guys are actually interested in, then please let me know, leave a comment, and I will make more of them. I could talk about Game of Thrones absolutely forever, especially now that I'm more versed in literary analysis. I would love to actually have more to say about it than when I say here. Yeah, enough excuses. Here's a video. Yeah, enjoy.
Sync. Okay. Well, that was lackluster. Game of Thrones piloted on April 17th, 2011 to massive success. It is the most popular TV show of all time, and for good reason. This show has some of the most shocking moments in all of TV and cinema history, and it's difficult to find anything better for that reason. It has some of the most shocking moments in all of TV and cinema history, and has some of the most intricate and amazing writing of all time. However, the monumental failure that was seasons 7 and 8, and 5 and 6 for that matter, really taint the legacy of this show. So anyway, there are the books that the show is based on, which differ quite greatly the further along you go in the story. From undead mothers to, probably, secret Targaryens. There's all sorts of hijinks in the book that the show just doesn't include, which makes the books quite different. But there was a time when the show and the books weren't so different after all. A time when there was peace and harmony, and the world didn't know the that those two writers. Ooh. Before D&D, this was a time when there was only one episode, and it was all people could talk about. Now, I'm sure you've all seen the pilot episode to the most popular series of television ever made, but in case you haven't, here's a brief synopsis. Now, it starts with these three men, Sir Waymar Royce, Garrett, and Will. They're riding out from the wall. What's the wall? That's not important yet, don't trouble yourself. Will goes out on his own and finds a bunch of mutilated corpses of, are you fucking serious? Fucking camera died. So Will goes out and finds the mutilated corpses of a bunch of people. And, rightfully so, he freaks the fuck out. So he runs back to Sir Waymar and Garrett to tell them what he just found. Sir Waymar is being a huge dick to both Garrett and Will, but decides it's for the best to go see what the hell is going on. Will leads them to where the corpses were, and oh no! They're gone. Sir Waymar starts making fun of Will, and so he leaves. Then Garrett starts to freak out and sees that behind Sir Waymar there is... we don't really know yet, but something bad. It fucking kills him. Will hears the scream of Sir Waymar and turns around and sees one of the bodies. But it's alive again. That's, oh fuck. Okay, so Will and Garrett are fucking running the fuck away, and they get really tired, so they stop for a second, and oh no. Oh God. Good Lord. Can you guys please stop making fun of me, you assholes? Sorry, my classmates are being horrible. And he gets decapitated. Cut to black. Or actually, I think it's a fade to black. Now, if you're like me, as a first-time viewer, you're probably asking yourself, what the fuck is going on? That's not important right now. This show is supposed to grasp your intrigue. Grasp you by the intrigue. We see the young man Will from the Night's Watch being pursued by some riders, and then we get to see Winterfell. The title cards actually help a lot with this first episode, and I think it's just very helpful. We're then introduced to some of our main characters that we will follow throughout most of the rest of this show. There's Ned, Jon, Robb, Cat, Sansa, Bran, and Arya. That's the Stark family. Then we have Sir Roderick Cassel, one of the best characters, and you cannot change my mind, come and tell Ned Stark that there is a deserter found from the Night's Watch. Cat says that Ned shouldn't bring their prepubescent son to go see a beheading, but Ned says, "Winter is coming." Was that a good impression? Now, this is actually, full honesty, one of the things that I think the show does best, which is showing that Ned is the type of person to do anything if duty requires it. Then we get transported to the body of a maggoty dead elk. That is the hardest thing to say, maggoty dead elk. Maggoty dead elk. Maggoty dead elk. And we wonder what could have done that to such a thing. Apparently, it's a dire wolf, the sigil of House Stark. Now, there aren't supposed to be any dire wolves south of the wall, but, like, clearly there are. Ned decides to give each of his children a direwolf pup. We then learn why everyone has been treating Jon Snow quite differently this whole time. It's because he's a bastard. Infidelity. His mother is a whore. Then we get to see the cheery capital of the Seven Kingdoms. Someone's dead. We meet the queen and her twin brother. They talk about how they didn't kill him. Anyway, the next thing that happens is we see a raven bringing a letter to Winterfell. We see good old Ned in the Godswood, sharpening his sword Ice. So, funnily enough, this is day 2 of trying to record this because all the batteries to the camera died. So we learned that Catelyn is not from the North, and she has never really felt quite at home here, but she has learned to love the North as she has learned to love her husband. Isn't that just sweet? Isn't her love for her family just fantastic? I'm sure nothing bad will ever happen to them. From the letter, we learned that King Robert is coming down to make Ned his hand. We don't really know what that means yet, but trust me, it's important. In the next scene, we hear about one Lord Tyrion, and he enjoys wine, women, and reading, at least according to Catelyn. We also hear about the Lannisters and the state that the relationship the Starks and Lannisters have is in. What the fuck? It's time for the king's arrival, baby! Woo! Bran is up on a tall tower watching the great royal procession come in, and he's just so excited. He climbs down, and his mom tells him that she doesn't want him climbing anymore. I'm sure that this will not be important at any point in the future. Then, through the royal procession, we're introduced to an entire slew of characters. There's King Robert, his queen Cersei, her brother Jaime. There's their son Tommen and his guard known as the Hound. I think that's everyone. If that's not everyone, editing me will put up the pictures of the other people introduced, or maybe I'm just rambling and I'm gonna look stupid. This is a really good time to point out that the production design of this show is absolutely amazing. The costumes, the makeup, the hair, like everything about it, like the sets. Oh my god, the sets. Look at them. Look at this. Look at the sets. Oh my god. I really hope that I've been holding the microphone far enough away, otherwise the audio is going to be absolutely fucked and I'll have to re-record this.
Dude, I'm doing an iOS.
Shut the f. You'll know if I do. King Robert arrives and we get 2 of the greatest lines uttered in the entire show's history.
Cat!
Your Grace.
You've got fat.
Then he goes with Ned down to the crypts because he's a little sad boy. Ned and Robert talk about how much they loved their foster father, Jon Arryn. This guy is the one who died earlier. Robert makes Ned the new hand of the king and talks about the political climate of King's Landing. Oh, then now it's Tyrion's introduction, the part that's gonna make me fucking kill myself because of having to blur out all the nudity. Then we're introduced to Tyrion Lannister, the imp. He is coupling. He's a great character, but editing this, I get to now keyframe out all of the nudity because his first scene is in a whorehouse with a whore and several others later towards the end of the scene. It really shows that the show is willing to be mature. We also get to see the fantastic familial relationship he has with his brother Jaime. He's such a good brother, bringing him more whores. King's all sad, boo-hoo, little sad king boy, little baby man king. Fucking loser bitch cause your fiance died. Then he talks about the Targaryen threat and any last remaining Targaryens. We then get introduced to Daenerys and Viserys Targaryen, the last surviving Targaryens in the show, and they just have a really great relationship. The sibling relationships in this show are just so They're just so. Now, I know this is the synopsis, and I'm going to be giving my thoughts on the episode later and how it connects to the books, but why the fuck are their eyes not purple? In the books, their eyes are purple and it sets them apart. They got silver hair and purple eyes, and it's cool as hell. Why did the show not do this? It makes me really angry. Why the fuck aren't their eyes purple? Then we're meeting the Dothraki. Khal Drogo, he's pretty lit. Then we see that Sansa is just all over this dipshit. This scene is peak. Absolutely fantastic. One of the best scenes in this episode. It's so good. We get to meet the royal family and see sort of their little bits of politicking at this fantastic feast. And this feast is quite large scale, though not as large scale as the book. We get to see Jon's frustration at being a bastard, which is something that will haunt him for the entire show. We get to hear more about the Night's Watch, but as a first-time viewer, it's a little confusing, but that's kind of the point. It's supposed to get you hooked, as I said earlier, and just get you to keep watching, which just this episode does a really fantastic job at. We get this fantastic dialogue between Tyrion and Jon, which just shows Tyrion's whole outlook on life and subtly foreshadows the way Tywin, his father, views him, which is just like... Then Ned and his brother Benjen get to have a bit of a talk, and Cersei, Sansa, and Catelyn have a bit of a talk while talking about the dipshit. I just don't understand. Like, look at him. He's not even hot. Like, in the book, at least, he's, like, hot. Then we get probably my favorite part of one of my favorite scenes from one of the best episodes, Ned and Jaime's dick measuring contest. It shows their thoughts towards one another, and it's just so expertly acted and written, and oh my god, it's amazing. Then we see Ned and Kat, and they just love each other. I really enjoy this scene. The actors do a really good job at portraying an actual loving relationship, and I think it's better than in the books, but I'll get to that later. Maester Luwin comes in, bringing in a letter that was brought by a rider in the night from Kat's sister. But this scene, where they discuss Ned's role and everything that he has to do for the king and in King's Landing, just perfectly encapsulates everything that the show is and will become, until eventually it suddenly and tragically doesn't.
Dothraki weddings are cool as hell and no one can tell me otherwise.
When the fuck did you get here? Dany's just thrilled to be getting married. Look at this. This is the face of someone who's thrilled. She gets gifts from many different types of people, including Ser Jorah, who gives her some books. He'll become a good friend of hers in the future. Then, the man who's been hosting her, Illyrio, gives her dragon eggs. Then, Bran starts climbing up a tower, while his direwolf Summer watches, very scared for him from below, whimpering and such. I'm sure there's no reason for that. I'm sure that he will be just fine. Bran continues climbing and gets to the top of the tower where he sees... As someone who is a twin, this scene makes me very... There are not enough words in any language to show my disdain and disgust for the relationship that these twins have. And then this happens.
Things I do for love.
Now it's time for my thoughts on the episode and how it compares to the books and how it just works as its own independent piece of media. Now let me first get out of the way that I think this is one of the best pilots of any show ever made, period. It does have its flaws and it does have its fantastic moments, but overall I think it sets out to do what a pilot should do in the most perfect way that any television show has. That being said, I do have some criticism and some praise that I would like to give to this episode. Let's start with the criticism because it's easier, I guess. Winterfell is too small, way too small. In the books, it is massive, gargantuan, it is awe-inspiring. For example, an excerpt from the book, "The Godswood was a dark, primal place, 3 acres across, with some trees that had not been touched for thousands of years." So if that's how big just the Godswood is, imagine how big it actually is. Luckily, you don't need to, because a YouTuber known as Shadiversity created a fantastic 3D model showing just how big it was. Compared to that, this little shitty Winterfell is underwhelming. Is the sound still getting signal, Jaden? I just want to make sure nothing died. Jaime and Cersei spoiled that they didn't kill Jon Arryn in the first episode. This is a huge plot point in both the books and the show, and it's a fantastic blunder to have revealed it so early that they didn't, though it's not quite as big as my next issue.
You know what else is massive?
Shut the fuck. I already said this, but their eyes aren't fucking purple. Why? Why are their eyes not purple? It's one of the biggest things about Targaryens and Valyrians. Why are their eyes not purple? It pisses me off. Also, Dany stepping into the hot bath is to show that Targaryens can, you know, they can deal with a little bit of hot temperatures, but some people say this is foreshadowing, showing that they can't be fucking burned. Have you fucking heard of Summerhall? No, you haven't, because you are just a dumb TV watcher that has only seen the show. Summerhall is where almost all of the recent Targaryens fucking died in a fire. What the fuck? You're wrong and dumb and I hate you. This is distasteful. This is alarming. This is terrible. I understand that it's a pilot and you need to grab the viewer's attention and make them go, oh, what the fuck? However, this is not the way to do it. In the books, Daenerys has no agency until this moment, and even though it's very fucked up, her first way of deciding her fate is by deciding that she actually will share a bed with Drogo. They just have him rape her, and it is for nothing more than shock value, and it is actually disgusting. One of the worst scenes in the show, absolutely terrible. This scene's pretty good, but I think it's much, much better in the books. Jaime is much more terrifying, and like the towers are so much taller that you're like, oh fuck, he's gonna fall like 70 feet. How the hell is he gonna survive? It's all of this insane stuff that your mind has to grapple with. I would elaborate on this, but I don't want to right now. This video is long enough as is, and I need to hurry this the fuck up. The synopsis took forever. Now that I've gotten my criticisms out of the way, I want to talk about the things that I adore and love about this episode, because I think it's very good and it does a lot of things right. First of all, Ned beheading Will instead of Garrett is absolutely peak. One of the best decisions they could have made. In the books, it's Garrett who is this older Night's Watchman, and you don't really feel for him. Will is a sympathetic boy that saw fucking demons and ran away, and Ned still kills him. I think it really helps to show what the show is about and what Ned's character is about. So, the music in this opening sequence is perfect. It shows how sprawling the story is going to be. It's perfectly grand, and it shows the instruments that will be used and some of the motifs that will be used. I just love this scene. There's so much subtlety between Jon and Kat, and it introduces the characters in super believable ways, and just from a filmmaking perspective, I think it's really cool that they used black paint instead of water and the godswood to make it more reflective. I just think that's super cool. I love the King's arrival. This is one of my favorite scenes. If you look in my script, it's emphasized every time because I love it so much. The music and the motifs introduced, fantastic. The characters introduced, voila. Perfect, I say. It's absolutely fantastic. The way that it shows little things about Arya and Sansa, and it exposits in such a wonderful way. One of the best scenes in the show. Also, I love the comedy in here between Robb and Ned. It's fantastic. Robert and Ned. Great scene, great writing, great acting, fantastic. Next. Hopefully the audio didn't cut out for that long, but I do have camera audio, so if need be. Fuck. This scene introduces Tyrion in a really good way, but I hate keyframing. But it's still good. Really great subtlety in acting, and like I said, the production design is amazing. It really shines here. The costumes and everything, and the sets, the props, all absolutely fantastic. Ned and Benjen seem like real brothers, and Ned and Jaime's interaction is fantastic. Like I said earlier, Jaime is genuinely trying to give advice to Ned about King's Landing, but because he has such a character that he's portraying in the Kingslayer, he doesn't really let that be known as well to Ned, and Ned has such a preconceived notion about who he is as a person that he's not willing to listen, inevitably leading to his downfall. I like this scene a lot better than in the books. It really shows that they love each other, and I always found the sex a little weird. Just, it was a little too descriptive, and I just don't see those characters doing that, so just personally, I like the show version better. I also really like the subtle introduction of Brandon and Rickard, who are Ned's older brother and father in this scene, and it's one of the only times they're talked about, which is great. Holy fuck, I need to pee. So what are my thoughts? 9 out of 10, maybe 9.5. It's alright.